Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Pure Cut Creations. Today I have another knife making video. As I said in my previous video, when all of my electricity was gone, I decided to go up to my grandfather's house to make a knife. And actually I made two knives while I was there. So like I said in my previous video, which I'm going to link in a card and in the description, you can probably see that up in your top right hand corner right now. I went to his basement shop. This time I'm making a fillet knife with a white stag antler handle. It was quite a bit of work and it took me a while to decide whether or not I wanted to put a guard on it. I eventually did, and that required us to put a rivet in it. Um, so we used the vise, and then my grandpa also hammered it to make sure that the rivet was really in place. You have to choose a rivet that's the exact size of the hole. So that way when you go and sand it, as you're seeing right now, there is really no rivet seen. It was pretty incredible to me that you can just make it disappear like that since I'm used to wood where it's really, really difficult to make things disappear. Also, there's no grain matching in metal, which is probably pretty nice. Anyway, here I am using the bandsaw to cut out the antler into the right shape for the handle. It was pretty easy actually. I thought it would be more difficult considering it's a rounded shape and I'm cutting it on a bandsaw, but it was actually pretty stable because of all of the grooves in the back. And this is why Antler makes such a nice, comfortable handle material and is really good for gripping even when it's wet. So after I got that all cut out, it was time to glue it on. Now I only glued on one side, and I made sure that side was really clean before I glued it. The reason why I only glued on one side is so that way I could use the holes in the tang to line up the holes that I drill. So after we skip through that, we're going to go on to the drilling, and you can see here what I'm talking about, where I'm using those holes that were on the tang as a way to guide my holes through my handle. That last hole I don't really need to put in, but I decided to put it in so that way it would have a nice little strap on the back of it. Then I put some more glue on it and put the second side of the handle. Then using the holes from the first side that I drilled out, I was able to use those to line the holes drilling out the second side of the handle. This made the drilling process really trivial. The next part was a bit more difficult though. What I had to do is I had to make the top of those holes a little bit larger than the rest of the hole. The reason for this is that the cross section of the little rivet piece is like a T, and I wanted it to be flush against the handle. Here you can see what I'm talking about as it goes in, and it is flush. That is exactly what I want to have happen, and it took me a lot of time and a lot of tries to get that right. My first knife that I did, not the buffalo, but the first knife that I did. This is my third. The buffalo was the second. My first one, I had to do the rivet holes, and well, it didn't turn out well at all. I did it too deep, and they weren't flush with the surface, and it was not good. So I made sure these were really, really good. Um, and then after sanding down the handle to come flush with the guard, it was just a matter of popping those rivets in. So I popped in the rivets, leaving the last hole as a hole for a strap. And this is what's going to really make that handle tight against the knife and make us that way it is a very long lasting durable knife. As you saw earlier when I was cutting out the handles, I left a little bit extra on. This is the step where you take that off and make everything look flush with the tang. This part is probably one of the more difficult parts of the whole process, as you have to do it by hand and you have to get things flush and perfect without changing or altering the shape of the knife or the tang, because that could really detriment how it feels in the hand. This is also where you trim the sides and make it more comfortable. This shows the artistry in this craft. I really appreciate my grandpa taking his time and showing me how he does it, kind of teaching me a bit. Very nice to be able to spend that time with him, especially, but also just to be able to, learn a little bit about what he's done for his entire life. And I'm just happy that I'm fortunate enough to live in a time where I can share what I do and what he does now with with everyone who watches this video. And hopefully our community gets bigger and we can show more people the work that we do here. Now this knife is not finished yet. As you can see, I still haven't put an edge on it. But there's one more little teeny weeny thing that I want to do to this knife, and that's going to be in another video. So if you want to know when that video gets released, make sure to hit the little bell down there. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And once again, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.